You're watching Cape Media News, brought to you by Cape Media Center.
Tonight on Cape Media News, Barnstable Town Council discusses new philosophy.
Plus, a look at Cape Cinema's public forum.
And Sturgis Charter School students give back.
These stories and more are coming up next on Cape Media News.
Good evening, it is May 24th, and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Mitch Sock.
And I'm Jamie Horton. Our top story tonight takes us to last week's Town Council meeting, where councilors discussed a draft of a new Town Council presiding philosophy document. This appears to be an evolution of a document that leaked earlier this year and prompted a noticeable response from the public. After further edits to the draft, Council President Felicia Penn brought the document to the Council to discuss and approve the new philosophy. However, not everyone fully grasped the purpose of the document.
This is an opinion, it's a philosophy, I get it. But again, to me, it's like a mission statement. Are we following the tenets of our strategic plan, or are we trying to layer something over it? I hope I'm making that clear, and that's where I'm uncomfortable with this.
This has nothing to do with the strategic plan.
Our strategic plan, from what I understand, is the plan that drives the town. That's the base plan that
It's
drives.
a plan. This is a philosophy. There's two different things.
I understand what you're saying, Madam
They
President.
can coexist nicely together.
They can, and they can create disasters as well. So, philosophy, again, philosophy is...
Well,
it's
how did the
ether,
old
it's
philosophy
ether.
work? Did that create a disaster with any strategic plan that the past town councils did?
Absolutely. What is
It did?
What is grounded in balance and equity? What does that mean? That's like flowery words that have no... balance and equity. I don't know what it means. Is it equity of race, equity of means, equity of life standard, equity of...
Well, you're not managing this, so you're lucky you're off the hook.
Thank you.
You don't have to interpret what it means.
Those are my comments. I appreciate it.
I'm going to take a further step from Councilor Neary's comments and wonder if it really is the business of the council to create a philosophy. And we are all elected. I saw that face, President Penn,
I hope
which
so.
did not appear to be very respectful of my comment.
I'm listening.
Thank you. I respect everyone's philosophy on this dais, and I know that some of you have a different philosophy on certain issues than I would, and even to the extent of how I define balance and equity. I can't imagine that we as 13 members can come up with a collective philosophy that we would then hand over to our town manager.
You know, I didn't have to bring it to the town council, but out of respect for you, I did. I could have just handed this to the town manager like every other town council leader has done, except for they didn't put it in writing. And I could have just sat down with them and said, hey, you know what? New sheriff in town, this is the way it's going to be now. But I didn't do that.
This talks about ways to engage our public. That's
right.
That's pretty focused.
It does, doesn't it? All of the public.
We already do that. It's already in our communication plan.
I disagree.
Could you please give an example of the issues where you don't think that the public is fully engaged?
Equally engaged?
Yes. I mean,
I'm not saying the public isn't fully engaged. I'm saying equally engaged. That's what's the word equity and balance is.
Could we have an example of where the public has not been equally engaged on an issue or something? So we have a reference
I really
point.
don't want to go there. I'll be happy to talk to you personally about it. I don't want to do this in the public because you know what? People are going to get defensive of previous leadership. This is not to spear any previous leadership. It's not to do that. It's to create change and to move forward, and I really don't want to take the bait. If you don't know, I would be happy to explain it to you, but it's very obvious to me. And it's obvious to Mr. Tamish, and it's been obvious to several others. So That's all I can tell you. You must have been missing something.
What we're talking about here is that many of these are not actionable. They're thoughts, but they are not actionable unless we actually
They are
address
thoughts.
the
You're absolutely right. They're not actionable because it's not a plan. Because they're thoughts that direct action, that direct plans. It's not actionable in and of itself. It's a thought process. You're absolutely right. And it's words. It doesn't harm anybody. It just makes us better. All those in favor of approving the document as amended, it passes. Thank you all.
The Hyannis Artist Shanties are officially open for their spring hours. Until June 16th, visit Bismore Park and Harbor Overlook Fridays through Sundays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. to check out the 12 colorful seaside shanties filled with handmade art. Starting June 17th, the shanties will be open 7 days a week until the first week of September. While there, you might catch performances from local musicians, outdoor game setups, and even food trucks throughout the season. For maps and more information, visit artsbarnstable.com.
This weekend, head to Yarmouthport for a collective neighborhood yard sale from 8 to 2 p.m. on the 25th and 26th. Over 15 homes will participate in simultaneous yard sales on Tasmania Drive and Australia Avenue. Also this weekend, the River Bay Association in Chatham is hosting their 9th annual River Bay-wide yard sale on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Stop by and find your next hidden treasure.
Join World War II veterans in commemorating the 80th anniversary of D-Day with poetry and music. Voices of Poetry, The Longest Day, will feature original and selected poetry read by the poets and authors who served in World War II. This event will be hosted at the Unitarian Church of Barnstable on Sunday, June 9th from 2 to 4 p.m. There's a suggested donation of $15, but no one will be denied admission.
The Massachusetts PFAS study team will be at Barnstable Town Hall on Monday, June 3rd, from 12 to 1:30 p.m. and 5 to 6:30 to share their preliminary findings on the community's past exposure to PFAS containments in the Hyannis drinking water. Dr. Laurel Shader, the principal investigator of this study, will provide an overview and summary of PFAS blood test results for Hyannis. Guidance on interpreting the results will be included in the presentation, as well as resources to help residents reduce their exposure to PFAS. The event will be streamed live on Barnstable Government Access and available over Zoom.
After announcing that they would be closing their doors for the month of May due to financial trouble, Cape Cinema and Dennis held a public forum last weekend to answer questions and receive feedback from the community on how to best move forward. Take a look.
You know, I think we covered a number of different topics, and I think people walked away with a sense of support and understanding of the theater. The goal really was to engage the community, to see what their vision was, what they wanted the Cape Cinema to be.
So the first question is, are you having problems with the distributor? Eric.
The only problems we're having with the distributors are that we can't pay them. But we have, right now, we are up to date on payments to distributors. I mean, I think the first thing you got to do if you're going to run a movie business is pay the people that give you the programming. I mean, if you can't pay them, then how can you stay afloat? So yes, we're not having trouble with the distributors. In fact, we have very good relationships with distributors. Obviously, with this kind of crowd, you're sending us a message that yes, we want you to reopen. Yeah. I think one radio station or someone interviewed me last week, and they said, what's the purpose of this meeting? And I said, the purpose of this meeting is to engage the community. And maybe I have to say that I apologize, that maybe in the past we haven't engaged you enough. We need to know what you want. If you love what we're doing now, that's great, but we want to do more of that, and we want to expand things. But we want to expand things that you want to see.
I want them to know that we're listening. We're listening to everyone in the community. I was worried. I mean, what if 10 people showed up? You know, what would I have done then? I think, and it was a lot of support. And A lot of people are very enthusiastic and really want this theater to succeed.
All of us appreciate what you're doing. We love the Cape Cinema. And I know how difficult it is to be on a board. However, my question is this. You want to hear from the community. We want to hear what the board has done. The purpose of a board, and I've been with two nonprofits and worked with board members, the board is a fundraising arm of the institution. What plan has the board put in place in the past? And Josh Mason, who is the executive director, who was wonderful, we all appreciated what Josh did. He wrote a letter to the board in March with a specific plan and recommendations. There was a warning as to the financial crisis that was coming. What is the board willing to do? You can ask us for money and we can send you checks. Wonderful. We don't want to put good money into bad. We want your plan. What are you going to do to preserve this, and we will support you?
So to answer your question specifically as to how to make it sustainable, I think is what you're asking, this is a perfect example of step one. We need to know what you're willing to do. We want to know what you want to do, and then we can take it from there. These things don't happen overnight. You don't apply for $50,000, $100,000 grants and then hear back in 30 days. These are processes that take a long time. These are things that haven't been in place for as I just discussed, quite a few reasons, because we're brand new boards.
If you want to get in touch with us, it's hearte@capecinema.com.
Coming up after the break, sports and more. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Jamie Horton.
And I'm Mitch Sock. Over 200 seniors from Sturgis Charter Public School are preparing for graduation in just under 2 weeks. As a way of giving back to the community, these students are volunteering at various organizations across Cape Cod. Our team visited the Cape Cod Toy Library, where 10 dedicated seniors were hard at work organizing and cataloging thousands of toys. Here's a closer look.
We've been doing this event kind of volunteering for the seniors. The seniors, right now from both of our campuses, we've got about 200 seniors that are graduating in less than 2 weeks, and they're out at over a dozen sites throughout the Cape. Just kind of giving back to the organizations that have helped them kind of growing up on the Cape. And they're working at the Veterans Assistance Association in Hyannis. They're working in Centerville at the library, Yarmouth. They're doing cleanup. They're doing some spring cleanup, or in this case, they're organizing a vast number of toys to just to help out many of these organizations on the Cape that need that in the summertime.
The Cape Cod Toy Library has 3 major initiatives. 1 is that there's a community play space. 2, that it has a toy lending library. And 3, has an outdoor play oasis. The first 2 are here at First Lutheran Church in West Barnstable, and the outdoor play oasis in the backyard of the Hyannis Public Library. So, Community Play Space and the Toy Library are open on Saturdays from 10 to 1, and we have been completely volunteer until just recently with 2 part-time staff. So we still need volunteers in order for us to expand our hours, and ultimately we need more space in order to expand our ability to have be open all week. The Toy Library has about 2,000 toys, actually, that have come from families across the Cape and some businesses. So most of them are recycled, reused, environmentally friendly toys from about 150 families from the Cape. We have families who come here from as far as Wellfleet and as far as Plymouth or Marion, the other direction. And we welcome everyone. It's free of charge to come in the door, just a $5 suggested donation. And then we have a subscription for borrowing, and that is $30 a month, or you can apply for financial assistance, and then we seek sponsorship to support everyone, so everyone can have access to our resources. Our 2 staff is a toy librarian and a play specialist, both of whom are educated in children and child development and working with children and families, and they are here also to support families when they are here.
We run what's called a Creativity Action and Service Program. It's part of the International Baccalaureate program that the schools have been doing for 20 years. And this is the service part. It's creativity, action, service. And this is just an opportunity for students to show their compassion for others, to show that this is how I can serve my community at large by just donating some of my time on a early summer day, or late spring day, I should say.
I kind of signed up for this because I grew up coming to like little place spots like this, and I like giving back to kind of play spaces, libraries, museums, all kind of that stuff. And I really like kids and stuff and giving back to kids. So that's why I signed up for this. So today, basically, we did a lot of inventory counting. So basically going through what's here and
organization.
Organizing it, kind of making sure it's all in the right place. So then if any kid or parent wants to come in and play with any of the toys or loan it out, that we have it here for them.
And to make it easier for the people who actually are here normally that come and volunteer, make it easier for them just to create organization and have everything kind of looking nice, and just making it easier for the people that come and get to enjoy this and get to let out their creativity.
Exactly. I think it's so important for kids of young age to, sometimes they might not have the resources to have toys or games or any sorts of things at their own home. So I think this is why it's so important for something like the Cape Cod Library to give them that opportunity to explore their creativity and their imagination with some things that they might not have access to on a regular basis. So I think that's another reason why I signed up to do this. So
I think it also kind of shows our motto at Sturgis, which is IB for all. So it creates kind of an atmosphere where everybody is allowed to have something, and that we're all giving back to help one another and create a community, which is what we do at Sturgis as well.
Exactly. It's been really fun so far. We all got here in the morning. We
get to be with friends too,
Yeah.
which is fun. I mean, I know I've had fun all day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I can't.
We definitely I think we got into a pretty efficient routine and
It's exciting.
system. We were going through and checking off boxes, and we got done pretty early too because we were efficient. We were having fun doing it. So it's been really fun so far.
I mean, I like to check off boxes. It sounds stupid, but it was fun just checking them off and
it's kind of nostalgic looking at all the toys. Like, oh, I remember playing with that, and looking at everything and seeing the new stuff that you never
and
played with as a
realizing how
kid.
old we're getting,
Yeah,
even though
I
we're not
know.
that old. Seeing some of the goats on boats.
Exactly.
Never heard of that before, but
yeah.
Like I said, we've been doing this for over 10 years, and it's a way for this, again, it helps to develop well-rounded students, that you don't just go to school, you don't just do your homework, you just don't write papers. You also find ways to contribute to the community at large. And it's another way for students to kind of explore what their interest may be before they go on to university, before they go on to trade school, that they discover they like planting a garden, or they like working and helping with others, such as at the Veterans Center. Or they enjoy working with young kids in a toy library, things they may not know without being given the opportunity. And all the students do have choice. We have sign-ups about a month in advance. Students kind of choose what they want to do, and if they're not sure, we just kind of assign them, and they may discover something they didn't know, a passion they didn't know they had.
South Yarmouth is gearing up for the 4th annual Cape Cod Pirate Festival. On June 1st and 2nd, 8th and 9th, Joshua Sears Memorial Field will be transformed into a pirate mecca with unique musical acts, jugglers, fire dancers, stunt shows, and many other exciting performances, vendors, games, and food trucks. Head to CapeCodPirateFestival.com for all the information.
Cape Regency Rehabilitation and Healthcare Center is hosting a senior health fair at their nursing home in Centerville. This free event will allow seniors to receive health screenings and access to education on managing health conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, fall prevention, and more. The event is on June 10th and 12th from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. at 120 South Main Street in Centerville.
Mid-Cape annual elections have officially wrapped up. Voter turnout varied from town to town, with Yarmouth seeing the highest turnout at 17.6%. Chatham wasn't too far behind at 17.2%, and Dennis followed at 15%. Harwich saw the lowest turnout at 6.9%. In Yarmouth, Joyce Flynn and Tracy Post won the 2 select board seats, and the $880,000 DY override passed by about 400 votes. In Chatham, Corey Metters and Dean Nicastro were re-elected to the Select Board, and both debt exclusion questions passed. John Terrio took the Select Board seat in Dennis, and Paul McCormick received resounding approval for Water District Commissioner. In Harwich, sole candidate Peter Piekarski was re-elected to the Select Board, and the Monomoy Regional Middle School siding renovation question passed.
Happy Memorial Day weekend, Cape Cod. The Centerville Memorial Day Parade begins at 10 a.m. at the South Congregational Church on Main Street in Centerville and ends with a ceremony in Memorial Park. Before the parade, there will be a pancake breakfast at the church's Fellowship Hall at 8 a.m. Looking for more Memorial Day celebrations? Head to Brooks Park in Harwich at 9:30 a.m. for Memorial Day ceremony, Dennis Village Green at 10 a.m., or to Yarmouth Town Hall at 11 a.m. Don't want to be out in the hustle and bustle on Monday? Hyannis's 20th annual Troops in the Spotlight will be hosted at the Cape Town Plaza in Hyannis on Sunday, starting at 11:30 a.m. Stay safe.
And lastly this evening, we send it to Ryan Downs with a recap of this week in sports.
Welcome back to the Cape Media News Sports segment. I'm your host and local sports guy, Ryan Downs. It's the last week of the regular season, and while some teams are making their final playoff push, others are sitting comfortably and celebrating the achievements of teammates. The MIAA has announced the cutoff dates for each sport in order to get the brackets released accordingly. So while the latest rankings came out on the 21st, there will be one more update that will also be the bracket positions. It was a milestone night in Barnstable this past Monday, as Hunter Parent got his 1,000th assist. He only needed 9 heading into the match, and his teammates wouldn't let him forget it, as they had a countdown going the whole time. He got 7 within the first set, and it didn't take long into the second set for him to hit 1,000. Barnstable took the moment to pause the game and celebrate Parent by surprising him with balloons, giving him the game ball, and inviting his family out on the court for a picture. And it seemed the celebration was a bit much for O'Brien, as they came out and played stellar defense the rest of the set, giving Barnstable all kinds of grief just trying to get a kill and slow their momentum. After dropping the second set, Barnstable got the momentum shift they were looking for and won the next 2 sets and closed the match out with a 3-1 victory.
I was just a little nervous. I was more focused on winning the game. I just really wanted to make sure that we won the game that I got my 1,000th then. Because O'Brien it was kind of hard to find film on him, so we didn't really know what was going on coming into it, but it felt nice. It felt really nice hitting that 1,000. I've been a starter for 3 years, and honestly, we've been pretty bad for like my last 2 years, and it finally feels like we're coming together as a team, and it's nice. We're doing pretty well right now, just as a team and everything.
The rest of Barnstable's varsity programs combined for a record of 12-12 this week. They have 5 teams currently qualified for the postseason, including baseball, boys and girls lacrosse, boys tennis, and volleyball. Of all these teams, only the lacrosse teams really have to worry about getting bounced, as the boys have a record of 4-13, but are ranked 23rd due to strength of schedule, and the girls are ranked 28th with a record of 9-7. DY combined for a record of 5-12 this past week. They only have 2 teams qualified for the postseason. Baseball is currently 18th with a record of 8-11, and girls lacrosse is 25th with a record of 5-9. Although these teams' records are lower than 500, strength of schedule has put them within the top 32. Boys tennis, who was qualified last week as the 31st team, has fallen out of contention as they are now ranked 34th with a record of 3-13. Monomoy is the only school this week to have a winning record. They finished with a combined record of 10-4. They had a really successful regular season as a whole, with all 6 teams making postseason, and girls golf moving on to the South Sectional next Tuesday the 28th. If they win there, they'll punch their ticket to the state championship. They have 3 teams ranked within the top 15, and their highest ranked team is baseball at 26th with a record of 10-8. With only 2 games left, it wouldn't matter the outcome, as they are guaranteed a record of at least 500, which would still qualify them for postseason play. The softball team also won 3 games this week, outscoring opponents 45-8, pushing their win streak to 14 games. Somehow, they're only ranked 23rd, even with the record of 15-1, which could potentially prevent them from hosting playoff games. And just like Barnstable, Nauset finished 500 this week with a record of 9-9. After missing the postseason last year, Nauset hired a new baseball coach, and coach Brett Labonte has led his squad to being ranked 15th with a record of 14-5 in his first season. All 3 boys varsity teams qualified for postseason as well as the girls lacrosse team. Nauset boys lacrosse team brings in the lowest rank at 6th. Although their record is below 500 at 8-9, their strength of schedule gives them such a low position. And that's it for this week's sports update. Back to you, Jamie and Mitch.
Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have a story you'd like to see covered, send us an email at newstip@capemedia.org.
Tune in every week for more hyperlocal news that matters on Channel 26, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV.
And be sure to follow us on all of our social media, including Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. For Cape Media News, I'm Mitch Sock.
And I'm Jamie Horton.